So I read an interesting comment on Reddit the other day, and that had to do with something I posted where they mentioned that, wow, you rowed in college and you have no lats. And it really got me to think about the rower's body and how misinformed a lot of people are on what a rower's physiological phenotype actually looks like. When a lot of people think about rowing, they literally think something like this. Something that's this is so far off of what rowing actually is, but people generally think that it all has to do with upper body, arms, and some people think it's all about back. When in actuality, the main power produced by a rowing stroke is in your legs. If you've ever seen a rowing machine in a gym before, you'll see that the seat on the rowing machine slides back and forth. It works the exact same way on a boat as it does on those machines. Rowing is a total body exercise that uses over 80% of all of your muscles throughout the exercise. But certain muscle groups are preferred over others. And by preferred, I just mean they're used more. In the rowing stroke, it's all about the legs, pretty much. More than 60% of the power, for sure, in each rowing stroke comes from your legs. And when you're looking at a rower, the one thing that you really notice on a rower is their big legs. And with these big legs, you'll actually usually find fairly small upper bodies. And by small, I mean conditioned. But your upper body muscle groups, including your lats, your arms, everything in your upper body, are not used as much as your legs are. They're not as responsible for creating as much power for each stroke. So when you look at a rower, you'll see big legs and a really toned upper body. We also have to remember that rowing is an endurance sport, which is different than bodybuilding, lifting, strength training. Although rowing does have some anaerobic components to it, rowing is mainly an aerobic sport. It's extremely similar to sports such as running. However, in rowing, unlike in running where putting on extra weight would actually weigh you down, if you can carry your weight, that actually can help you in rowing. So that's why when you look at the elite level of rowers, you see lean, trimmed bodies with big legs, because these guys have gotten as big as they can be while still maintaining their efficiency. Endurance is all about producing power over a long period of time, not just 8 to 12 reps or 6 reps or a 1 rep max. We're talking a sustained effort that's lasting at least 5.5 minutes long. You can look at all of these Olympic guys. None of them have these massive, huge upper bodies, something that you would see in a bodybuilder. They don't have these huge, wide backs, because in the end, that would just weigh a rower down. And the rower needs to be as efficient as they can with what muscle mass they have. And in the end, a big back and big arms are not gonna help you win a rowing race. I think a big problem is people like to associate ultimate fitness with a chiseled, muscular, perfect body. Whereas every sport is gonna have bodies that are very specific for that sport. So if you were to join a rowing team or compete as a rower, would you get big lats from that? No, you wouldn't. That is, if you wanted to be a good rower. Because again, it's all about power endurance, where your weight matters. You need to be able to carry your weight. If you're gonna have extra muscle mass, that needs to be helping you down the rowing course more. You'd get toned lats and you'd build an extremely high aerobic base, and you'd have muscles that have been very trained for muscular endurance. But you would not look big and bulky like you see a lot of these bodybuilders. Whenever you look at an athlete, regardless of what sport they're in, you have to keep in mind that their bodies are shaped for their sport, whether that's a shot putter or a rower or a bodybuilder or a long distance runner. These body types are always going to vary, because when you compete at the highest level of your sport, you need to be as efficient as you can for the motions that you do for that event. So I hope that was somewhat informative about how a rower's body performs for their event. Top level athletes don't all look like bodybuilders. You can't just say, oh, if you did a rowing motion, well, you must have big lats because that's what I train at the gym. It's different. It's all sport specific. So keep that in mind next time you criticize someone or you criticize someone in their sport. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you again next time. Thanks.